Hello and welcome. I'm Christopher M. Michaud, founder and leader of the United Canadian Centrists, and you're listening to a conversation about representation, accountability, and how Parliament can work better for the people it's supposed to serve. This episode is called A Different Kind of Representation: Why United Canadian Centrists Deserve Your Consideration. If you've ever felt like politics has become predictable, scripted, and disconnected from your daily life, you're not alone. Too many Canadians feel like decisions are made far away from them by people who don't know their communities and don't hear their voices until election time. That's what we're here to challenge. In this episode, I want to speak to you directly, not as a politician talking at you, but as someone who believes Parliament should belong to the people who elect it. The next time Canadians head to the polls, you're going to hear the same familiar arguments. Red versus blue, this side versus that side. Strategic voting, party loyalty, fear of the alternative. It's been the same cycle for decades. But here's the question worth asking: is it actually working? Split parliaments can work better, and they should work better. The problem isn't the structure. The problem's whether the people in it actually want to govern or whether they're just trying to grab power and protect their side. Any governing party has to understand something fundamental. They're never going to get 100% of their agenda enacted. That's reality. There are differing opinions across the country, and Parliament exists because of those differences. Opposition parties have to understand it too. You're not there just to block everything. You're there to shape outcomes. Compromise isn't weakness, it's governing. When split parliaments fail, it's usually because people refuse to compromise. They dig in, they posture, they perform for cameras instead of working towards solutions. Of course, there are issues you can't compromise on. Common sense issues, matters of principle. But most legislation lives in the space between absolutes, and getting it right requires healthy debate, respect, and a willingness on every side to give a little to move the country forward. That's what Parliament's supposed to be. And that's where the United Canadian Centrists come in. We're not here to replace one dominant party with another. We're here to be the conscience of Parliament, to evaluate each issue on its own merit, to vote case by case, not party line by party line, to represent the will of the people who sent us there, not the machinery of a party that expects obedience. Today, too many votes in Parliament are predictable before the debate even begins. Members stand, speak, and then vote the way the whip tells them to. The outcome's known in advance. The public watches, if they watch at all, and feels disconnected from a process that's supposed to represent them. We want to change that. On issues of real national importance, budgets, major legislation, confidence votes that could determine the survival of a government, we believe the electorate shouldn't be an afterthought. If a decision's serious enough to shape the direction of the country, then it's serious enough to consult the people first. Our approach is simple, and it's grounded in something Canada's been missing for a long time: direct engagement. Regular town halls, not once every election cycle, not when it's politically convenient. Regular, structured, open conversations with the people we represent, in every riding where we're elected, and even in the ridings where we aren't, because representation shouldn't stop at the boundaries of a seat. If I'm your member of Parliament, my job isn't to disappear into Ottawa and return 4 years later asking for your vote again. My job's to come back, sit down, listen, and debate issues with the community I represent, to hear concerns, to hear disagreements, to hear ideas, and to work toward a consensus before I ever return to Parliament to cast a vote. That means when an issue comes forward in Ottawa, I'm not voting based on what a party leader tells me. I'm voting based on what the people in my riding have discussed, debated, and decided matters most. Macro decisions shaped by micro conversations. No surprises, no blind loyalty, no automatic alignment with red or blue. But there's another layer to this, and it matters. When Canadians elect United Canadian Centrists, they'll know exactly what we stand for going in. We'll run on a clear platform and policy framework during a general election. Those ideas, those priorities, that direction, that's what voters are electing when they send us to Parliament. So on national level issues, especially matters of confidence in the government, core economic direction, and the major pillars we campaigned on, our caucus should vote together based on that platform. Canadians deserve consistency on the big national commitments we made. You shouldn't wake up one morning and wonder whether we've abandoned what you elected us to do. But on local issues, the story changes. When something directly affects a community, jobs in a region, infrastructure decisions, local economic realities, immigration impacts at the community level, the issues people talk about at their kitchen tables, that's where your member of parliament must have the freedom to vote based on the input of their constituents. That's where the town halls matter most. That's where the MP listens, debates, and brings the will of the riding back to Ottawa. Not filtered through party command, not overridden by national optics, but shaped by the people living the reality of that decision. In other words, national mandate on national direction, local voice on local impact. That balance keeps integrity intact. It respects the platform Canadians voted for while preserving the right of communities to shape how decisions affect their lives. Representation. Imagine watching a vote unfold in Parliament and recognizing your representative, not just their name, but their voice, their presence, the conversation you had with them at a town hall, the handshake, the moment they looked you in the eye and listened. You turn on CPAC and see them stand to vote and you think, that's why I sent them there. How many Canadians feel that today? How many can look at the floor of Parliament and point to their MP? How many remember their voice? How many have spoken to them directly? How many feel that the person standing there knows their concerns, their family, their community, their priorities? For too many people, Parliament feels distant, abstract, detached. It was never meant to be that way. The United Canadian Centrists believe representation must be visible, personal, and accountable. You should know who speaks for you. You should hear them, challenge them, agree with them, disagree with them, and most importantly, influence how they vote. We're not asking for blind support. We're asking you to consider a different role for your vote. Instead of choosing between two entrenched parties, imagine choosing a representative whose primary obligations to you, someone who will examine each policy, each bill, each national decision independently. Someone who won't automatically support or oppose based on party alignment, but who will look at what's best for the country and what the people in their riding have said. A parliament that includes United Canadian Centrists is a parliament that has to listen more carefully, debate more honestly, work more collaboratively. That's healthy for democracy. Strong governments matter, yes. Clear leadership matters, yes. But so does balance, so does scrutiny, so does having voices in the room whose purpose isn't to dominate, but to ensure that decisions are thoughtful, grounded, and accountable. We want to help build that balance, and we want Canadians to feel connected to the process again. To know that when a vote happens, it reflects conversations held in community halls, libraries, and local meeting rooms. That it reflects real people speaking, listening, and shaping outcomes together. This isn't about ideology. It's about representation. It's about remembering that Parliament exists because Canadians exist, that every seat belongs to a community, that every vote should carry the weight of real voices behind it. When you see a United Canadian Centrist stand in Parliament, you should see more than a politician. You should see your neighbor, your advocate, your representative, someone who remembers your face, your concerns, and the conversation you had together before that vote ever took place. That's what we're here to do, not to follow red, not to follow blue, to follow you. And the next time Canada votes, we ask you to consider what that kind of representation could mean, not just for your riding, but for the country as a whole. Thanks for listening and for taking the time to think about what representation in Canada could look like if it were truly built around the people it serves. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to learn more about who we are and what we're building. Visit uccparty.ca to explore the United Canadian Centrists, our priorities, and how you can be part of the conversation. There you can download our official party handbook, The Case for Canadianism, a free ebook that lays out our principles, our structure, and how we approach governance. And if you want a deeper look at the long-term vision behind this movement, I encourage you to read Canadianism, a calm alternative for a fractured country, available for purchase in hardcover or paperback, which explores in detail how we believe Canada can move forward with balance, stability, and common sense at the center of decision-making. This is about more than politics. It's about participation. It's about feeling represented again. And it's about building a parliament that reflects the will of the people it serves. I'm Christopher M. Michaud. Thank you for listening.